Everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that, let's be honest, we all know really, really well, failure. But more importantly, we're going to explore what comes after that. We're going to break down the anatomy of a second chance, how we can be totally restored even after hitting rock bottom, all seen through one incredible story.
So let me just ask you straight up. Have you ever had that feeling, that deep, sinking feeling in your stomach that you are a complete and total failure? Where you've messed up so bad, let yourself or someone else down, and you just have no idea how to move forward? That feeling is the starting point for everything we're about to unpack.
Our story kicks off with this one. Simple sentence from a man named Simon Peter. I'm going fishing. Now that sounds pretty casual, right? But it is so much more than a plan for the afternoon. This is a statement of defeat. This is the sound of someone giving up, retreating from their purpose, because they are just drowning in guilt.
So let's get into our first section, returning to the old net. This is all about that gut reaction we have to run back to what's familiar when we feel like we've failed at something new, something important, even if it's a life we thought we'd completely left behind.
I mean, try to put yourself in Peter's shoes for a second. He just committed the ultimate act of betrayal against his closest friend. He feels completely worthless, ashamed, just lost. So what's his move? He runs. He goes right back to the only other thing he knows how to be, a fisherman. It's him literally running away from the person he was supposed to become.
And this isn't just Peter's story, right? This is a deeply, deeply human thing to do. When the future feels uncertain or maybe even destroyed, we look to the past for comfort. We fall back into old habits, old identities, because in a crisis, what's familiar just feels safe.
Okay, but what happens when we do that? When we run back to our old comfort zones? Does it actually work? Well, Peter is about to find out that trying to fix a brand new emptiness with an old, familiar tool, it doesn't just not work. It leads to a very long and very empty night.
And you got to remember, these guys were not amateurs. They were seasoned, professional fishermen. They knew this lake inside and out, and they threw everything they had at it. All their expertise, all their strength, all their experience, working their tails off all night long, just trying to force a result.
And after all that work, all that professional skill, this is what they had to show for it. Zero. A big, fat nothing. An absolute void. Their very best efforts led to absolutely nothing, leaving them exhausted and feeling like even bigger failures than when they started.
And here's where we get to the absolute heart of the matter. Their failure on the outside, the empty net, was just a perfect reflection of their emptiness on the inside. You see, they were trying to fill a God-sized hole with their own hard work, and you just can't do that. That kind of void can only be filled by the one who made it.
But you know what? Failure is never the final word in these stories. This right here, this is the turning point. Because as the sun starts to come up, a voice calls out from the shore with a simple question and a strange command that's about to challenge everything they think they know.
Just imagine the scene. You're bone-tired, you feel totally defeated, and it's that gray, misty morning light. And some stranger starts yelling at you from the beach. When you're that deep in your own failure, your vision gets clouded. They couldn't even recognize that the one person who held the answer to their emptiness was standing right there.
So now they have this crucial choice. On one hand, you've got their logic, their experience. They know the fish aren't there. They've proven it all night. On the other hand, this stranger gives them a command that makes absolutely zero sense. So what do you trust? Your own proven, exhausting failure? Or do you take this one little, slightly crazy-sounding step of faith?
So what happens when they make that choice? Well, that single act of obedience, going against all their logic, completely transforms their world. They go from total emptiness to overwhelming abundance. It leads to an incredible miracle, and then breakfast.
So they cast the net, and instantly it is slammed with so many fish, 153 big ones, that these strong, burly fishermen can't even haul it into the boat. Now, this is not just a good day's catch. This is an impossible miracle. And it's the sign that tells them this is no ordinary stranger on the shore.
But look at how Jesus shows his love here. It isn't with a lecture or a we need to talk moment. It's incredibly practical. He sees their failure, so he gives them success. He sees their exhaustion, so he cooks them breakfast. He takes care of their physical needs first, before ever even addressing their spiritual failure. It's grace that cares for the whole person.
And then there's this one tiny detail that's so easy to miss, but it's so important. It says that even with all those fish, the net didn't break. That net should have been shredded, but it holds.
It's this beautiful little picture that says God doesn't just provide for you in the moment, He also preserves the very tools you're going to need for your restored purpose. And all of this, the fishing, the miracle, the breakfast, it all leads up to this final, beautiful moment of restoration. Because this whole thing was never really about fish. It was about restoring a man's soul and giving him his life's mission back.
And check out this powerful pattern. 3 times, Jesus gives Peter the same mission: feed my sheep. Now, why 3? Because Peter denied Jesus 3 times next to a charcoal fire. And here they are beside another charcoal fire, and Jesus restores him 3 times. Each command cancels out a failure, completely healing the wound.
And that's it. That's the climax of the second chance. Jesus doesn't just forgive Peter, He completely redefines him. His identity is no longer the guy who failed. His new identity is the shepherd entrusted by Christ. His failure didn't disqualify him. It actually became the foundation for his true mission.
And so that leaves us with this final thought to really chew on. We spend so much of our lives running away from failure. But what if our moments of greatest emptiness, our rock bottom, are actually the exact places where we're meant to meet grace? What if your biggest failure isn't a dead end at all, but an invitation to a brand new beginning?